We're always wanting to categorize and box people today. And they believe this, so they must be one of those. When we feel that way about someone, we're harboring bitterness and resentment, animosity, judgment, or hate of others. We're really limiting our ability to love or to feel love and to feel blissful life when we are doing that. We're the ones who get shortchanged, not the other people. I always want to cast a wide net and bring everybody in. That's why I connect people. That's why I have this burning desire when I see someone who's not a part of something or that person who is not fitting in. I will just fight to the death for somebody like that. There's no difference between any of us. In reality, we're all the same.
Welcome to the Fearless Now podcast. My name is Sam Lett. I'm an ADHD coach and I'm a guy. Also an author. I'm coming out with a book called Beyond ADHD on Amazon in October and where books are found. But enough of me. I have just the best job when I'm not doing my other job, which is being a coach. And I get to talk to some amazing people, change agents, transformational people that are really doing some brilliant work in their communities and really helping fellow humans just lead a nicer life. And I have one of those people here. Her name is Jill Collins. She's an inspirational speaker. I'm reading from her bio. And she was also, weren't you like the former, you were a city council member in Miami? Something big. What was that?
I was in politics. Yeah, I ran for the state legislature about 20 years ago.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, and I was in politics, yeah.
God bless, because
I was young and naive.
Yeah, you know what? It was good that you were young and naive going into politics because you could exit out real quickly too when you needed to.
That's right.
Jill Collins is an author and life coach, and she empowers personal reinvention through the power of connection. After facing profound loss, Jill embarked on a journey of self-discovery that led her to discover her purpose, which is uplifting others, which she is a whisperer in that. She's brilliant in that. I've gotten to know Jill over the last couple of months, and it's just been an honor and blessing to be her friend. Even though we haven't met in person, I feel like I know her really well already. Uplifting others by connecting them to the resources, experiences, and communities they need to thrive. You're a connector, and we've talked about that before. Jill launched Jill Collins Connections, which is centered around her signature Piper effect framework for connection. Say that 5 times fast. I don't know if I could do that. Through her book, The Power of Connection, Reinventing Yourself After Loss, and her YouTube channel, which is, ladies and gentlemen, you got to check it out. It's wonderful. Through her YouTube channel community, Jill teaches practical tips for overcoming life's transitions and living your summit life. Jill, thank you for being here today. I was on your podcast, and you and I could have talked for 3 weeks straight up. No one gets stopped the ADHD train. And when we're in the proverbial green room, and before I hit record, I mentioned to you that you are Exhibit A, a prime example of an ADHD success story, because you have really just kicked some real ass in life in all the good ways, and really have shown yourself and others how powerful a conduit you are for success, not only for yourself, but also empowering others just to live a nicer life. I want to hear if you could share just maybe the Cliff Notes version of your journey, discovering you had ADHD. Oh my God, I have this thing called ADHD. What is it, like a curse? Is it a disease? Is it my brain damaged? I had all those thoughts going through my head when I had the diagnosis over 20 years ago. But we'd love to hear just where Jill began and where she is now with her ADHD brilliant brain.
Thank you, Sam. I know we could talk for hours, and I always and so by interviewing other people with ADHD, and the most fun, or I would say the most challenging in a fun way, are those that have ADD and they don't know it, and you're having to direct and manage that. When we know we have it, it's one thing we can go, oh, there we go. Here we are. We're going. If they don't know, they're just all over.
Exactly.
It's like knowledge is power. So it is a superpower, and we know we have it, and we can see how to deal with it. Or even if we have it, it depends. If some people, like you say, is it really, well, we have it. And that's another conversation. But how did I know? Truth is, I didn't. I'm 52, and when I was in school, girls were not diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, and it was really just ADD then, from what I recall, and it was always the boys. Well, the way I was the girl who was sitting in the back with the ADD boys, laughing at all their jokes, and they're cutting up and getting in trouble, and I'm the one in the back laughing at them. So I'm getting in trouble, but I was getting in trouble because I was a behavior problem.
Yeah, I was one of those too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I was not the cute girl sitting in the front with the cute ponytail going, here I am. I'm following what the teacher
Right,
says.
with
I'm
the bubble, with the bubble
laughing.
handwriting, the bubble
Oh yeah,
handwriting,
I didn't know
the
that.
hearts putting.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, he's hilarious. I'm like, do it again, do it again. You know,
Yeah.
that was me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't know, and I was sent to the school psychologist all the time, reading ink blots, like what's wrong with Jill, and so it's
Totally
like
true.
the report cards would say Jill is a great student, but she's bossy, and she talks too much, and all of that. So we know that those characteristics of someone who has ADD or ADHD. Didn't know that at the time. My parents always struggled to deal with me because I think I was just a big talker, very
Yeah.
too much, just had to be in front of everything and into everything, and just didn't know how to deal with that. So I wasn't a great student. I didn't study because I couldn't focus, but I managed to get B's and C's, occasional A here and there. And then I went in a second attempt at college. Before I went back again, I started hearing about this ADD thing with adults, and I'm like, huh. So I went to a psychiatrist and I said, is there something to this? And she said, there's really not a test for it. But she said, all you can do is to give you, she asked me some questions. She said, I could put you on the medication and see how you react. So I started with Ritalin, and then I applied to go back to college, and I got, and
wow.
I went, huh, okay, there's something to this. Now, whether or not it's medication, for me, I found it just helps me focus. Whereas if I have a whole kitchen give you an example of what this looks like for me, is without the medication in the past, it would be you have a dinner party and everything's in the kitchen, it's all a mess and food's everywhere and plates and dirty stuff. And I just look at it and you go, oh my God, where do I start? Whereas with the medication, I can look at it and go, okay, let's see, we got plates here, we got to rinse all those off first, then we got to get all the forks and the knives together here, the silverware, and then we take all the linens, throw those in. Suddenly I can chunk and block things and I can see clarity.
Yeah, because because it's creating a compartmentalizing filter. Our prefrontal cortex, which with our brilliant brain, we weren't born with that kind of filter that would, again, put things in its place. I look at it, I hyperventilate when I look at my kitchen table with this crap everywhere. Like, okay, I'm done. I'll see, maybe in a couple hours I'll tackle that. Like, I'm out of here. Hey, have a good time, plates. You're on your own. Do your thing. Yeah. So that's wonderful and I love how you saw, even despite your teachers being frustrated and or wanting to help, obviously, because they're not trying to be punitive and they're not trying to punish you deliberately. They want to be, but you and I grew up in a time, and maybe it's still today, I think they're a little bit more evolved, that we were punished for having a mind that works differently. Like thinking that's going to work. It only made me worse. I don't know about you. Like I was the kid that was like quiet. I was the kid. Yeah. And you probably could for me.
You were quiet?
I was a quiet and inattentive, boisterous kind. Like I would vacillate for being too quiet because I'm zoning out, looking and looking outside. I'm daydreaming. And then I would definitely be in the back with the other ADHD kids making fun of stuff and being obnoxious. So yeah. I was a weird. I would love to see my Rorschach ink blot.
Yeah, I read more ink blots than most people, I think.
Yeah, it would be a Technicolor ink blot. That for me, that was the real puzzling part of it, because I would vacillate between the inattentive to hyperactive to telling. I told many teachers to go F themselves because they wouldn't let me be me. And I realized there is me, and then there is a lot of thinking and too much energy around me. It was very confusing for me, and I'm sure you can relate too.
I felt very much like I was a bad girl. I grew up into my 20s, really until I probably hit even mid 20s, where I started to come back and realize that it wasn't that, but I always thought I was a bad girl. And it's hard to break free from that because you don't have a reason. When someone tells you you're bad, there's no incentive to do good, because you just have to keep repeating. It's like subconscious, we keep doing what's expected of us. And I didn't realize that at the time. But I think too is that I think teachers are well-meaning sometimes, but I had another one that just didn't want to deal with me because I talked too much. I asked her questions she didn't want to answer. And so she decided, and it was deliberate, and this was not my opinion, this was actually deliberate, and she told me this, is that she didn't want to deal with me. She put me in the two classes that I took from her, reading and English, in 6th grade. She put me in special ed in those two classes. And so I was in special ed with 6 or 8 or 10 to a classroom. And I really excelled there because it was a small group and they paid attention and they were focused. And yeah, I was getting straight A's. It was very easy. But at the same time, I liked that small group because I got the attention, I got noticed, and they treated me differently. But I had one teacher that was really amazing, I think in 4th grade, and she created this system for me. It was a give and take system. So if I behaved and I did something she wanted, she would give me something. We had a little chart. And so she taught me how to be accountable. And I didn't have that. I didn't know how to do that. So I learned that structure from her. I remember that very well. And she'd let me go watch a film strip or something in the library.
Film
for 20
strip.
minutes. I had to say it that way. It was a film strip.
No,
That's for those of you who know it's a video today. It's a video.
Yeah, we're the
machine,
same
a little film
generation.
strip. Yeah.
A couple years younger, but I'm the same
Yeah.
generation. We say I haven't heard the word
Film
film
strip.
strip in 30
Got to
years.
watch a film strip. Got to
Film
watch
strip.
a film strip. Yeah. And so
Oh,
I got
wow.
to leave the class, and I was special because I got to leave the class. And so I say all this to say is, how did I utilize this now? That now it gives me a unique perspective to see people that are people cast aside. I'm very hyper aware of people that aren't noticed.
Yeah.
And I always want to cast a wide net and bring everybody in. That's why I connect people. That's why I have this burning desire when I see someone who's not a part of something and I can sense it. And I'm like, hey, come on over and hang out with us. Or it's just that person who is not fitting in.
Yeah.
I will just fight to the death for somebody like that. Because it feels like I was the least popular kid in school. My whole life, I was the least popular.
And I think and I love what you just said there, because you just pinned the tail on the donkey when it came to one of our superpowers of being an ADHD or members of the ADHD union is our gift of empathy and being able to see ourselves in others and feeling others' pain. I can totally commiserate with that. I can totally identify with that. And that's what makes us great coaches and great doctors and great healers. And I can go on and on. But growing up, I was never taught, I was never shown what this brain and how this system works. So I thought that was too sensitive for me, or I'm a loser too. So I want to bring the other losers into my club, 16 candles. Or I'm just thinking.
I did that in 7th grade.
But they weren't losers.
No.
Their brains just worked differently and they didn't fit into, they were a square peg in a round hole. But now they're the successful creative types and they're working for Disney or Pixel, or I can go on and on, or they have a successful consulting firm and they're living in the Palisades or living in Miami. These are the people that are the movers and shakers in the world, like yourself. But the real tragedy was there was a lot of suffering that didn't need to happen. Hear me out there. There was a lot of suffering for me personally. If there were classes on teaching me how to use my ADHD brain, and of course it's innocent because teachers back then, and again, I'm in the same age bracket, it was the Stone Age, with the ADHD Stone Age. And today it's not that great either. We still segregate our classes. I was in special ed classes. My brain was reversed. So my brain was super gifted in reading, and writing and creative stuff and history. And I love that. Oh my God, music.
Oh, I'd have to literally, I'd read the first sentence of every chapter trying to figure out how to answer the questions. Like you'd have to read the story for the class and then answer the questions. I'm like, I'm doing it the hard way. Let me get the questions and find it in this thing without having to read it. That's what I would do, because I couldn't sit there and read. I still can't comprehend anything.
The only books that I love are the self-help books. I'm a self-help nerd. If you look, I'm like, is there any books, like there are any dramas or any, it's all self-help stuff, because this is what I love to do. And this is what you love to do. And I think
that's 6 of them behind me right here.
Yeah. And so, but when we were growing up, and the audience today that listens to us, Gen Z, I don't know, Gen Y, millennials, even millennials, maybe millennials a little bit, the older part of the millennials, they have no idea. Like, we were just thrown into special ed classes. And for me, that was a big stigma, because on half of the day, and you can relate to this, and for me, I was very self-aware, and that's a curse, a blessing and a curse, for being a 15-year-old kid in high school or in junior high school. Half the day I'm taking advanced placement courses, gifted courses. I grew up in South Florida. And then on the other half of the day, I'm in this other building with kids with developmental disabilities. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we're just thrown into the soup. And we're not really told, hey, it's okay.
And
But
it's a stigma. And you said it's a stigma. And I think what happens is that, because for me, the core of everything was the sense of belonging or not belonging. That was what really drove me.
100%.
And when I felt like I didn't belong, or that I was not in something, that just added to it. I think you're saying the same thing, right?
Yep. Yeah. It was confusing and it didn't feel good. I wasn't empowered to be my best self in those classes. It was like, we don't know what to do with you, Sam. We're going to put you in another building for the other half of the day. And I would sneak into it. I'd see a friend walking by me and I would just totally ignore him and pretend like he didn't exist as I'm walking into this other, it's like a portal of, and I always say, this is horrible. It's a horrible thing to say, but they would call it the short bus building, because I'm like, why is this? Why am I the adults behaving this way? And again, it doesn't make any sense to me why they did this. And to this day, it doesn't, but it is what it is. I wanted to shift gears a little bit. And I wanted to ask you how your brain, your brilliant ADHD mind, is able to be successful in 2023 America. You are a success story. You've proven to yourself and to your family and to others that like you can do life, and very successfully. Hard stop.
I would say,
put you on the spot there.
I love it. No, it's great. And that's what this is for, is how, let me get the question again, is how am I doing it in 2023 in this day and age with an ADHD brain? Is that what?
Because there are a lot of folks that have this kind of brain type that are either in prison or they're in rehab. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I know.
To no fault of their own. This isn't a pity party either. It's like you have free will to make choices, but just to build up the question is, if we were taught how to use our mind to work for us, which means that like we went to training school to learn discernment and how thought works and how our system works, we wouldn't have 1.5 million people in prison. We wouldn't have hundreds of thousands of people playing the rehab rodeo because they're self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. I do believe that. You being a success story, meaning you figured life out with this kind of brain. You did. And you stumbled.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Up until 4 years ago, I was a very heavy drinker. I never did drugs because I think I was terrified of them. And so thank God for Nancy Reagan days or not, that just say no. It scared the shit out of me back in 3rd grade. And we had to watch these traumatizing videos of people using angel dust and all that stuff. And so that scared me, but I made up for it with alcohol and other things. And to me today, I love Dr. Gabor Mate so much because I've served on a nonprofit board for substance abuse, Phoenix House, for the past 25 years now. And everything I thought about addiction is wrong for me. He shifted my point of view about this is how it's really addicts. I have a lot of addicts in my family, recovering addicts. Thank God my father stopped drinking a couple of years ago. My brother's been struggling with addiction and he's stopped now for the past few weeks now. And I'm so proud of him. And for me, 4 years, and we're just all healing, and it's so beautiful. I have an aunt and uncle are 37 years clean. I say all this to say, though, is that it's really a choice. And it's, for me, it was when I realized I guess I just stopped. I didn't want to keep suffering. I saw that like the self-medicating was not working anymore. It wasn't helping me. And as I started to, I go back to connection, because to me, when I started to, after I lost my husband suddenly 7 years ago, I was really in a downward spiral of really partying, drinking, hanging out all the time with people and just staying so busy. I didn't have to feel. And when I started to get around other people and get into some personal development and work with coaches, it really started to occur to me that I was not living the blueprint that I had created for myself, and the drinking wasn't matching anymore. For those people that are incarcerated or who are struggling with things like this, is like Dr. Gabor Mate says, is you're just trying to solve a problem. You're solving the problem of the pain you're experiencing, and you're trying to find a solution. There's nothing wrong with you. The only difference between you and me is I never tried perhaps the drug you tried. I maybe wasn't in the same circumstance, but I could have easily been there just the same. And I was there with alcohol. I've had a lot of issues with that. And so in the sense of this is I just said, I don't want to continue to be in this. It was causing so much pain that I had to just choose and try a different way. So with my brain I said, with our ADHD brains, let me say it this way, with our ADHD brains, because we are so different and unique in a good way, we have the power to not follow status quo. We've done things differently than a lot of people.
True story.
So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
used to not always just being following the flock, which I never have, is
Yeah, I go the other way.
if I could create something else, like how can I do it differently than everybody else? Is how I'm seeing other people that are having success, and what does that look like? Let me get around them and find out what they're doing. Let me work with Sam. Sam's come out of this. Let me give him a call and see how he did it. Find people that are doing what you want to do and get in their space and start reading books about what they recommend, or getting and doing whatever you have to do to start up leveling. And to me, it starts with the community and connection with people that are where you want to be. They're doing what you want to do.
I love how you answered that question in such a brilliant, different way. You up-leveled your life through good times and horrible times. And I'm sorry for your loss of your husband.
Yeah.
And I think when we grieve loss, there's this space in between grieving and healing that all of us go to, where that's the space. And I did a video on this when I had longer hair, where we do all the great work, where we start a new company. We don't even realize that we're doing it. We just drop into that space. It's that space of no thing. I think you look at some of the great teachers, whether it's Buddha or my mentor, Sid Banks, it's that liminal space where all of a sudden we're starting a new company, or we're falling in love, or we're writing that book. And it's that space between grieving and healing that we up level. We stop drinking. We don't even know why. And the reason why we don't even know why we're doing it is because that's our wisdom. So you can show, and I love everything you share because it's so profoundly true, but you can show someone x-rays of cancer, lung cancer, right? You can take someone to a cancer center who smokes, right? I'm talking someone a smoker, and he still won't quit. And you're like, how can you still smoke after I just showed you patients with chronic pulmonary, was it CP? Anyways,
COPD.
I'm Mercury retrograde. I can't talk today. It's with COPD or on oxygen, and they're still smoking. It's because it needs to hit you on a wisdom level. You just need to wake up one day and just say, I want to quit, or I want to stop doing this, or I want to up level my life. Because it's not up here in our intellect. That's the catalyst for change. It's just one day we wake up with a knowing.
Yeah.
Just like how you up-leveled your life after losing your husband. And it's still not, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm sure you have horrible days. It's hard, of total anguish because you miss him and because of what happened. But the up level happens when it's supposed to happen, and you can't force it. And with the ADHD brain, we want to go now. All right, give it to me. Come on. What's next? What's next? What's next?
Absolutely. I did that. I was like, within 5 or 6 months, okay, that happened. 14 years. It was great. Okay, where's the next one? I'm done now. Let's get out there. Let's find him. Let's go. I'm ready. Oh God, was I not ready? And if God would have answered my prayers of the guys that I thought I wanted to be with, thank God he didn't answer those prayers at that time.
Yeah. Well,
but there was a transition, like you said, there's that transition period where we go through it. And I think it comes to a point because we're motivated by two things, pain or pleasure. Most of us are more motivated by pain than pleasure. So it came to a point for me, and I think a lot of things is that we just say, you know what, this is just the impact of what's happening in my life. If I want to lose weight and I can't fit into my clothes anymore, and I don't feel good about myself, and I have no energy, it's just, I can't take it anymore. A lot of times that's what people with ADHD, people who have addictive personalities, that's where we go. We have to get to that point. I just can't stand myself anymore. That's enough.
It's kind of like a network. Remember that?
Yeah.
No. What does he say? I've had enough. Can't take it. But that's what's going on in our brains, right?
Yeah. And so when we get to that point, that is awesome. It is so awesome, because you know what? Then we have to take action. When we have that aha moment, we have to take action in some way. Yeah. And so what do we choose to do? And this is where we get to say, okay, I'm going to, what I love to do is I love to enroll or get accountability from someone, maybe a coach or a friend, get accountability, say, you know what, Sam, I want to stop drinking, but I'm not going to tell a lot of people because I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I'm not going to drink for today. And that helps. Or find someone else who's already doing what you're doing. If Sam doesn't drink, I'm going to say, Sam, can we do stuff together for a while until I get through this? So that way we're doing activities that aren't surrounded around alcohol. That could be one thing. But the real impact here is, and when I tell you about my alcohol story, is that when I stopped drinking, at the beginning, it was like, I'm just not drinking for now.
Yeah.
I don't know. People would say, oh, can't you just have one? I'm like, no, not right now, not today, but I'm just not, when are you going to drink again? I don't know, but not right now. And you know what? Every one of those days was a struggle. But here's what I'm going to say is this is why identity is so important. This is my identity talk. I love working on about identity and things this way. Is the one day I woke up and someone said, "Oh, we're going to a party tonight. Do you want to go and have some drinks?" And I said, "Oh, I'd love to go, but I don't drink. I'm a non-drinker, but I'm happy to go." Well, the moment I said, did you hear what I said? I'm a non-drinker. I don't drink. The whole thing just opened up, it was game over. It was so easy from that point. I have alcohol in my other home in Argentina. I have enough alcohol there to open up a bar, probably 2 bars.
Yeah. Wow.
Because I've had parties in the past, but it's like, to me, they look like vases or fixtures it doesn't even faze me. I'm around people who drink all the time. I don't even want it. And I went from being the one who'd always be like, let's have one more bottle, because I changed my identity. As Tony Robbins says, change your story, change your life. I changed my story about who I was. So if I want to really make a difference and a change, if I'm sitting there and I'm feeling like I can never find a way out, I'm in jail, I've got another year here, or whatever my situation is, or even if I'm in there for life, what can I do? Who am I? Am I a smart person? Am I educated? That's a good one. Find the identity, not just I want to be smart. I'm smart. That's a good one. But it's I want to read 10 books. That's great. Great goal. But how can you tie that into your identity of who you are? So start thinking, I'm smart and I am really brilliant. Or I'm thin if I want to lose weight. I'm thin. I'm an athlete. I want to do yoga every day. I'm a yogi. Do you see the difference? It changes how we see ourselves, and we eventually live up to that potential. Partner that with being around people that you're surrounding yourself with who are doing that already.
Yeah.
And you've got a recipe for success.
I love that. I'm a Sam. Damn it.
You're a Sam.
I'm a Sam.
You're a Sam.
There are many Sams like me, but I'm a Sam. Sam I am. No, I think that's brilliant. All of that is wisdom. All of that is, you can't force it. It's when we get present to what is, we see what's possible. When getting present to what is, we drop out of our thinking and we don't come to that conclusion about what our next step is in our brain. Doesn't happen. In our intellect. Doesn't happen.
No, you're right.
Not concepts. It's not theories. It's not what Tony Robbins doing, even though I do love how he's helping lots of folks and he's the granddaddy of quote unquote coaching. But it's like what I think was Martin Buber said, it's a holy moment. It's you just get really calm about life. It's Terrence McKenna's what he calls the feather bed on the other side of fear, where you just know what to do. You just know, oh yeah, I'm going to turn right today. I'm going to get off on exit 2A on the freeway instead of exit 3A. I just know that's right. That's the right exit for me. And then there might be fear, which is very normal after you decide to make that decision. I'm a non-drinker today. People can show you photographs like I just shared with the lung, with the cancerous lung, and you show that to a smoker and they still smoke. I can show you a picture of a liver with hepatitis or like an inflamed liver from too much drinking. You're still going to drink. It's only when we have that cosmic moment of wisdom, because it is cosmic. It doesn't come from our brain. It doesn't. Brain's good with GPS directions. It's good for mechanical stuff, but it's not going to, you don't find your wisdom there. And no one can explain where it comes from. You just know. And I think that's where people get caught up. Intuition does not come from our brain. It comes from God. It's a God moment. I don't know. Call it what peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Doesn't matter. But like for you, Jill, I think you've had a whole bunch of those moments because you're talking to me right now and you're doing life. Actually, life's doing you. Life is living us. We're not living life. Right.
Yeah. Yep, it's true. And I think as an example, I was on doing another interview earlier today and with someone, and we were talking about this whole thing, exactly about this. And he said, like for me, he said, I stopped eating sugar 3 weeks ago or a month ago, and I cut out sweets and sodas and chips or whatever. And he said, and I lost 18 pounds.
Yeah.
And I said, that's great. And he said, but that's the goal, right? We talked about that. And then he said, and then I had a bunch of friends that came in town and we went out all for the weekend and we were eating and drinking and doing all this stuff. And I had sugar and I had dessert. He goes, and I was up to 8 pounds. And I said, what's the difference? The difference is he had the goal, but what he didn't, I said, what if you said to yourself before that weekend, I'm someone who doesn't eat sugar. When that dessert shows up, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but because we have to be so true to who we are and our word for ourselves, it's innate in us that it really helps ground us and it anchors it in. And he said, you're right. If I probably would have said that, I probably wouldn't have eaten it. So it's like the knowing what we're going to say. It's like setting the pattern, like setting ourselves up to win. Like we want to walk through this idea beforehand, and we want to walk it through. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about that. It's doing I can't remember the word, the way how he describes it, but he says it's the think box. He says that you go in your think box before meditation,
cool.
but this applies for anything. Is how do I want this? How do I want this meditation, or how do I want this to go? So it's before the interview. It's what do we prep? What do we want the outcome to be like? How do I want this to look? How do I want to show up? And if you're going home and you're going to have a difficult conversation with your children or your wife, and you're going, okay, it usually goes this way. And that's what most people do. They go, oh, I know how this is going to go. I'm going to say this and she's going to get upset and we're not going to talk for 2 days. But let's reset it. Let's have a think box moment and say, what is it that, I'm stealing Dr. Joe's words, is how do I want it to, how do I want the outcome? What do I want to see here? For me, if it's, I don't want to overeat, I don't want to drink. How do I want to see this play out tonight before I get there? What am I going to do when they say, do you want the drink menu? Do you want a glass? What am I going to order before? Because have your order in mind. Am I going to have water with a splash of crayon and lime, which is what I love, is having a drink in mind. So that way you're not going, have it ready.
I love that. And I could take it one step forward with that.
Please. I'm just creating that on the fly.
No, I love how your brain works. My brain works the same way. If you notice that life's a game and you notice that the brain loves us and wants to protect us, and it tries to make our life as small as possible, you see the thought and thinking game, the Netflix movie being played between our ears. That's all made up.
Oh yeah.
All of it. And that's where I hard stop it with Tony Robbins and even Joe Dispenza. And I love both of them because I think they have some utility, but I think it ends where we have this brilliant narrator, screenwriter, director, co-director being totally narrating our second by second, minute by minute existence called our brain. You don't have to subscribe to any of that. In fact, when I'm in a bad mood, and this is where I come to the fact that's all of it is made up, all of it, 100% of it. The only thing is truth is in that quiet space of wisdom, that liminal space where we just know stuff. We have common sense, intuition. And hear me out. And this is where I challenge that on is the fact that when I'm in a low mood, like I woke up this morning and I was just like, oh my God, I feel like crap. And I'm just I'm having ADHD brain fog and I just can't see straight. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm taking my vitamins fine. And I drink my protein shake. And my brain is telling me all kinds of dark stuff. It's all nonsensical. Dark meaning like I'm just woke up on the wrong side of bed. I'm totally ignoring it all. I can hear my brain talking to me. Like you can.
Yes, it's having self-awareness.
Self-awareness, discernment. And now it had nothing to do with anything. I sat down at the desk before we connected and it just passed. My brain did that automatically. Not to say it's not going to happen again, of course, but I can do that. I can be present to what is and how loud our ADHD brain is because it's freaking Metallica concert loud. And I think for you, Jill, whether you can label whatever you want, that all the time.
I do.
And that with the noise and the narration, the story being created around drinking. It's a story. It's made up. The drinking 100%. Thoughts are the same as peanut butter and jelly thoughts, or the same as anxiety thoughts. It's just thought. It comes from thought, but we're misusing thought as a technology.
I think what you're saying. Yeah, I think what you're saying too is this, it's like that sitting back and watching the story is when I realized that a few years ago through some of the work that teachers that I've listened to and watched and learned to love is this idea of the movie of our lives and hearing that we're not our body, we're not our emotions, we're not our thoughts. And so our thoughts is just, when I wake up, I have the same kind of thing happens to me. It's, oh geez, Jill, you woke up late. Are you going to meditate? You're supposed to meditate at 7. You probably should meditate. Okay. All right. So I'm going to meditate. You're going to do it laying down. You're not going to sit up like you're supposed to. Oh, really? Oh, that's not doing it starting the day, Jill. What are you doing? Oh, you know what? You should also go swimming. Oh, you know what? You should also while you're at it, you need to journal. And while you're at it, you should also shower right away. Cause you're always supposed to, if you shower first thing in the morning, it always starts your day off. While you're at it, why don't you go to the gym too? Because that's a really good idea. So it's like the brain's going like the only way to have the right day, Jill, is if you do all these fucking things. Can I say that?
Right.
Is like
as many times as you want.
Is to do all these things. And so my brain's going, wow. And the good thing, the bad thing, I don't have children, so I don't have anybody that I have to take care of. I don't have a plant. I don't have any kind of obligations per se, other than I have commitments on and things like this. But So I have to really be in charge of my day. And sometimes I feel like I'm a 10-year-old in the room, and I'm like, where's the adult in the room who's going to tell me what to do? Someone.
Right.
And so but then it's that, like you said, it's that reset and going, I'm sitting back with the wise soul being that I am. And I go, wow, Jill, what a fascinating thought that is. That's fucking hilarious. Man, you just told as I'm saying it out loud, we're all
Right.
laughing, but if I can actually look at that as the tape and watch the movie go by and go, dang, that's freaking hilarious. You just said 10 things. You can't possibly do all those 10 things at the same time. And that's hilarious, Jill. Funny. Huh. Okay, cool. All right. So we're not doing any of that, but thank you for sharing. And then let's actually try to focus. What's one thing I want to do right now? You know what? I don't want to do any of those things. I'm going to go sit in the chair and have a coffee and look out the window. That's what I'm going to do.
I love it. It's like, Brain, thanks for sharing. I love you. It's like I do the Ho'oponopono prayer when that happens. Yeah. Thank you, Brain. Please forgive me. I love you. Was it?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you. Please. I think it's a reverse. Anyways.
It's 4 things.
Yeah. And it's like, Brain is only as effective as what you are discerning about brain stuff. That
to realize that the brain and the thought is not who we are. I think that's so powerful. My God. I say, Jill, you're a piece of shit because you didn't exercise today.
Right.
That's a freaking lie. That has nothing to do with who I am.
Well, the brain lies 24 hours a day, and we think that's real because we feel our thinking, and we're living in the world of our thinking, not the world of our outside experience. Once people see that, alcoholism goes away.
Yep.
I've sat with someone in recovery, and I work with folks in recovery all the time. And I said, tell me what your brain is saying to me right now. Have a drink. Come on, just one drink. I can't believe you're going a day without a drink. This is what we used to do. Come on, stop it. Stop. And I'm like, okay, but you're sitting with me right now. Can you let that move through you? Where is it in your body? Where's those thoughts right now in your body? Where's the feeling right now? Great. Awesome. What's next? What's next? That's the brain. What's next? I'm talking to my client. What's next? What's next? Okay, then what's next? Okay. And after five minutes, there's nothing next. He's off to another thought and thinking. Doesn't want the drinking thought again. Like we are totally, this whole country, this whole world is seeing it backwards innocently. We think it's outside in, it's inside out. And that's what you saw, Jill, in your own personal, if you want to call it personal development, and how you were such a brilliant kind of conduit and connector and a coach and an author and a speaker. And the only part that is confounding, because I could never do it, and I applaud you for, is going into politics. That's a special torture, but you got out of it, so you're on the other side. But
you never know, I may do it again. But
that's true.
But I don't like politics today, but I do feel like there's an opportunity out there I love bringing people together who are crossing the aisle, so to speak. And I think there's so much, because if I would have won him at 31 years old, I would never have been able to be the person I just wasn't the person that I am today. Today, it's that seeing so much separation we have in life.
Yeah.
When we talk about that with AD, is the differences of the kids who are the outcasts or the kids who are this way or that way, there's no difference between any of us. In reality, we're all the same.
Exactly.
And it's how do we bring that together and not find ways? We're always wanting to categorize and box people today and put them in this category. Oh, they believe this, so they must be one of those. And so we actually can't get anything done. And we actually are, when we feel that way about someone, we're harboring bitterness and resentment or animosity or judgment or hate of others, we're really limiting our ability to love or to feel love and to feel a blissful life and a fully joyous life. When we are doing that, we're the ones who get shortchanged, not the other people. I learned that very recently.
And I love that you're seeing that now, and also being able to share that with others now. And I think that's when we see that it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. And make some small changes in our school system, have more classes on how brain works, how mind works, how we work as humans, right? What emotional intelligence is,
intelligence.
How do we teach emotional intelligence in our school system? How do we teach about discernment and self-awareness, and that we're living in a role of our thinking, that we're not living in our outside experience? How do we teach about how brain works? We don't go to brain school. We go to memorization school. And I think that people like yourself can really enlighten others, especially because it's time. It's time. And on that note, you and I, we could have part 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which we probably will have. But
Anytime. Always
I'm,
happy to.
I'm so like just so blessed to have you on the show, and thank you for your friendship, and thank you for being you. And
Thank you, Sam.
yeah,
It's a pleasure. Than's you so much for having me.
pleasure's all
I
mine.
appreciate you.
We're gonna have you on for part 2 for sure. And
Awesome.
this has been another episode of The Fearless Now.